we got down here? Oh, there's our grasshopper sparrow again. Nice. And looks like another savanna down below him. Well, good morning, birders. I'm out here on another survey, private property up near Llano. It's a gorgeous day out. The birds are singing, even with the whole COVID-19 thing going on. Still able to get out and do a little birding. It's not the end of the world. Things continue on. Buick's wrens are singing in the background. I'm hearing larks, sparrows. I had a vermilion flycatcher come by earlier. So the world's still out here. And they say so one of the best things you can do is stay away from people. So, well, I think mission accomplished pretty well. So we'll see what birds we can get. I've got, again, lots of Buick's wrens calling out here. Got some titmice. I guess titmouses is the correct term, but I always say titmice, just sounds better. We'll see what we can get. Some lark sparrows. They're singing away with their buzzy little calls. Vermilion flycatcher. Gorgeous little bird. Looks like a young one. He's a little more orange than red. Let's see, there goes mourning dove flying by. But beautiful day. Had a lot of fog driving up here this morning, but it seems that lifted just in time for me to get out here and see what birds we can see. So as is frequently the case, I'm hearing a lot more birds than I'm seeing. They're all waking up and making a lot of noise, but they're small and they get eaten a lot if they stand out in the open too much. So they're vocalizing, but well camouflaged. Even the ones that are sitting out in the open can still be well camouflaged. Like there's a Buick's wren singing over here, right in the top of that tree. Let's see if I can get him on video. Can't really even see him, but you can definitely hear him having a few buzzy calls, tweet, 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 then a little warbly, more complicated call afterwards, or song, not call. He's singing away up there. Hearing some black-crested titmouse. Is that plee, 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 plee? A little bit different actually than the sound I hear around my house, where they go more Peter, Peter, Peter. But there he is. Little black-crested titmouse. And there I can see our little Buick's wren. He's been singing loudly this whole time. Sitting up there on top of the little tree. Beautiful little bird. Tiny little guy, but with a great big voice. And I think I'm hearing some black-throated sparrows over there. Yeah, that liquidy, those are black-throated sparrows. Again, another one that we don't get down around Wimberley area, but out here towards Llano, and as you get further into west areas, you get more of these black-throated sparrows. And they're a really striking little sparrow, kind of grayish on the back, brownish gray on the back, smooth-looking, sleek sparrow, and of course they got that great big black throat. So we'll see if we can see him here in a second. Another common but still nice bird, our little mourning dove. Notice the long pointed tail and little beady head. If he was chunkier and had a more squared off tail, then that would be a white-winged dove. But just from the profile you can see, it'll focus, that he is very pin-headed with a long pointy tail. That makes him a mourning dove. Of course, we've got our very loud little Buick's wren in the foreground, trying to steal the show. Now over here we've got one of my favorite little birds, the loggerhead shrike. He's sitting right there up on top of the tree. Notice he looks colored kind of like a mockingbird. At first you might think that's what he is. gray and black with some white on him. But then you see he's got that little black mask, and of course the beak is completely different from what a mockingbird would be. And notice how he's sitting on this tree here with a whole bunch of little spines on it. That is what this guy does. He's sometimes called the butcher bird. What he does, he sits up there on his perch, watching over the great big field. He'll swoop down, he'll grab a grasshopper or a lizard or anything that looks tasty to him, and he'll eat whatever he wants of it. And if he's not hungry, he'll take it back to his perch or onto a barbed wire fence or a cactus, and he'll stick his prey onto one of the spines and store it there for later. Come on, focus. But, oh, there he goes. He's gonna fly down, and we'll see if he might grab something. He's not coming back to his perch. He might have caught breakfast and he's sitting down on the ground eating it. I'd expect he'll fly back to his perch or to that fence over there if he caught something. But interesting behavior of that guy, so if you're ever driving along or walking around and you see a line of grasshoppers stuck on a barbed wire fence or impaled on a cactus, doesn't mean that there's a psycho around. It just means that this little bird is out doing his thing and storing some food for later. And another common but beautiful northern cardinal sitting up in the top of the tree, just singing away. Alright, I've just had a really good sparrow pop up here. He's sitting on the fence. Or maybe he's not sitting on the fence anymore, because that's what sparrows do. They fly away. But here's a picture. This is a grasshopper sparrow. See, he's kind of peachy colored, got a little ear spot, and a dark crown with a light line down the middle. These guys, I'm surprised they actually sat up long enough for me to even get the picture. They will sit up from time to time like that, especially when they're flushed, but they usually drop back down into the grass, as apparently this one has done already. But it's a nice little sparrow. They're not super common, so I always like seeing them. They have a very quiet song. So even if they're around and they're singing, you have to be somewhat lucky and observant to even be able to hear one of them. So having one fly up right in front of you is always a nice way to start the day. Oh, a little better look. These are savanna sparrows. You can actually see some of the yellow in the lores on that one. Again, if the camera would decide it didn't want to focus on literally anything except a bird, you might be able to see that. Yeah, savanna sparrows are somewhat similar to vesper sparrows at first glance, but they're a bit more delicate. They are not as chunky as the vesper sparrows. Vesper sparrows have white outer tail feathers, savanna sparrows do not. And savanna sparrows have yellow on the lores, a little area right over the beak. So you can, if you see that, you can be pretty sure you're looking at a savanna sparrow, like this little guy here. Savanna sparrows also usually don't have an eye ring, at least as obvious as the vesper sparrow does. They might show a little bit of an outline, but not a large, obvious eye ring like you'd see in a vesper sparrow. What do I got down here? Oh, there's our grasshopper sparrow again. Nice. And looks like another savanna down below him. You can really see that buffy on the face, that divided crown. Little dark ear spot in the rare occasion that the camera actually gets the bird in nice focus. And here's a very pretty little eastern bluebird. That nice rusty breast, white belly, and of course the gorgeous sky blue down the back of his head and down the back. You'd turn around, you'd see more of that blue, but they are just absolutely stunning birds. Stand out really well. Though there are other blue birds out here, so if you see a big flash of blue, don't automatically assume bluebird. This time of year we can get indigo buntings coming through here. They're a little bit smaller, and you can get blue grosbeaks. And what is that? That's a gull. Yeah, that was a ring-billed gull flying by, probably going to the lake, which is over in yonder direction. But yeah, bluebirds. They're real pretty birds, and you can put up bluebird boxes and get them to come nest in your area. Lots of stuff likes to nest in bluebird boxes. It won't just always be a bluebird. You can get titmice, you can get chickadees, you can get wrens, you can get ash-throated flycatchers. Oh, what is that? It's a white-crowned sparrow. Very sharp-looking little sparrow. Aptly named for his striking black and white crown. Though there are also white-throated sparrows. They're a bit huskier looking. They, of course, have the white throat, as the name might suggest. But they do also have a black and white crown, so be sure to look at more than just the crown if you think you see a white-crowned sparrow. The differences are pretty obvious once you start looking at a few more field marks, but there has been confusion in the past with some people I know who have seen a white-throated sparrow and thought it was a white-crowned sparrow. Other people, totally not me. This guy singing away up here is a lark sparrow. Very strikingly patterned face, kind of looks like an old-timey flight mask. And I really like his song. Listen for a second. It's very melodious, almost bunting-like song, but he sounds like he's got interference in there. He's got a little buzz in between every now and then, like if you're listening to the radio in a thunderstorm, it buzzes out every now and then. So if you hear a bunting that sounds like he's got a little bit of static interference on the radio, you're probably listening to a lark sparrow. And there he is, the elusive black-throated sparrow. Been hearing him all morning. Finally getting a look at him. Nice, blurry, unfocused look, even though there's nothing else in the picture for the camera to actually focus on. It seems like it doesn't want to focus on the bird right now. There he is. Black-throated sparrow. Notice that nice black throat, for which he is named. Little white eyebrow when he looks over here. Got a little light-colored malar stripe, kind of bluish in the face. And that clean, unstreaked flanks and belly. And brown, kind of grayish-hued brown back. Nice little bird. Good to finally get a look at him. Now, there's some disreputable character over here trying to sell me cheap cigarettes. Oh, it's just that white-eyed vireo in there. At least that's what some people say. It sounds like he's saying cheap cigarettes. There, we actually see him there. Wow, this bird is often heard but seldom seen. They usually prefer to stay fairly deep down into the brush. You hear them a lot, but they're not always the easiest to see out in the open. You can see even though he's coming a little out, he's staying pretty well tucked down inside there. Hopping around. They do have a white eye when you can get a look at them. They've got yellow lores, kind of some little spectacles it looks like. Uh-oh, there's been a casualty. Bird box down. Looks like we've got some evidence of other animals here. Looks like raccoon tracks. And you'd kind of expect them around here, going out to the river to deal with their OCD of washing all their food. Yep, you can see the tracks all along here. These been, yeah, a couple of them actually. And fairly fresh too. These were probably out here last night in the rain. I got fresh deer tracks as well. Always interesting to see what other wildlife is walking around the area instead of just the birds. Everything is interesting. Yeah, there's some more raccoon tracks. They all kind of come together at this one little point. So we've got some more footprints here. These look like they could be bobcat. Not 100% sure. But it definitely looks cat-like. See the foot pad there, a couple toes, and no toenail marks. Now these big patches of exposed rock are quite characteristic of this area. If you've ever been up around here, you'll probably notice these all over the place. There's, like, you can see it over there, big rocky cliff faces, and just big rolling amounts of this granite and other hard stone that seems to have been eroded away. Now out here, this is part of the Llano Uplift. This is a higher area of igneous and metamorphic rock that just this entire whole area out here is composed of. And if you've ever been out to Enchanted Rock, that's part of it. But you can see that all over the place, and just being in this area, you start to see it stand out a lot more. If you're coming here from another area, oh, there's a little bird interrupting my train of thought, orange-crowned warbler. But if you're coming in here from, say, where I live, down in Wimberley area, you don't see a lot of that stuff. But this is just a higher up raised area of this type of rock. It actually, unlike the name suggests, it wasn't lifted up. This is left over from many, many millions of years ago. All the surrounding rock got eroded away, and this is what is left, this harder metamorphic and igneous rock. So lots of granite and other stuff. And any of you geologists out there, feel free to correct me. This is not my main area of expertise, but I just find the area interesting out here, and I always like the looks of this. You get these beautiful plains of flowers and bluebonnets and grass and nice green stuff, and then these big open exposed almost lunar or Martian looking landscapes of solid reddish rock. Now here we've got a little nest, and this looks like a verdin nest. They build these little enclosed, very cozy looking little nests. And you can see down inside there, it goes, I can't really see down in there, it's too dark, but I think this one is a little collapsed looking, so this is probably last year's nest, which is why I'm this close to it. I don't see any verdins around here right now. And this just a nice little demonstration of how they build their nests. Usually this front part comes out a little bit further and kind of curves down. So this one's either unfinished or, like I said, an old one from last year that's starting to fall apart. But just an interesting little nest design, little stick bundle, very cozy inside, lined with all sorts of comfortable little soft things, feathers and spider webs, and it looks like a lot of pollen stalks from oak trees. Just a nice little nest. If you ever see one of those in the wild, look for a little tiny gray bird with a bright yellow face coming in and out of it. Verdins are gorgeous little birds. So I talked about the white-crowned sparrow having a white crown. So this one here with the rufous crown, if it'll focus on the bird, is obviously, yeah, also a white-crowned sparrow. Yeah, this is a young white-crowned sparrow, a juvenile. And they don't have the dark black on their crest yet. They have kind of a off-white color, but the dark part of the crest is more rufous instead, so don't get thrown off by these young birds that look a little bit different. There are rufous-crowned sparrows, and actually I think I just heard one, but this is indeed a white-crowned sparrow, and there's the adult sitting right next to him with his nice white crown. So that about does it for this morning part of the survey. Had quite a few decent birds, lots of good sparrows. But now we'll just wait until later this evening, and I'll come back a little bit before sunset and see if there's any new birds that might have arrived, or just a different set of birds that could be active. Thankfully, instead of waiting out that whole time, I have a superpower that lets me go right to later in the day. And we're back. So it's cleared off a little bit. The sun is starting to come out from behind the clouds a little bit before it goes back down. We've got goldfinches flying overhead. Had some scissortail flycatchers come over right before I got the camera out. And we've got a whole bunch of vultures up there circling around, looking for either their last meal. Oh wait, those aren't vultures. Let me get some binoculars on those. That might be a kettle of migrating hawks. Yes, indeed. It's a kettle of Swainson's hawks for the most part. And there were a couple broad-winged in there and one peregrine falcon. They're all heading north. This is a nice bit of hawk migration going on. Let's see, there's another guy right up here. Looks like maybe another Swainson's. We've even got this guy here, which is a northern harrier. Way high up there. So he's looking like he's got somewhere important to be, because usually they fly very, very low over open fields to hunt. But now this guy is high, high up in the sky. Looks like he's trailing behind that other kettle of hawks that came by a couple minutes ago. So the hawks are up and moving. The fog lifts off after the morning, and the birds are migrating. It's that time of year. So no matter where you are, you can go outside and look up at the sky, and even if you're stuck in quarantine somewhere, peer out a window and look up into the sky and see what you can see, because the birds are still out here doing their thing, and they're heading north. And wherever you are, they could be flying right over top of you. So watch for the migrating hawks, watch for the sandhill cranes that are coming over. If you're lucky, look in the groups of sandhill cranes, see if you see one that's a lot more white. It might be a whooping crane if you're in the right flyway. They're going to be heading north now as well. And the purple martins are all happy for the clear skies as well. Now here's another interesting non-bird. It looks like a bird. It's a hummingbird moth. And sometimes at first glance it can throw you off and make you think it is a hummingbird. But nope, it is a moth that hovers and acts, and at first glance looks somewhat like a hummingbird. Well, now this is an unexpected surprise. This guy flew up out of the bush over here as I was walking by. It's a phoebe, but it's not your usual eastern phoebe. No, the really dark contrasting tail, the kind of peachy underparts, a little dark on the head, and a couple little faint wing bars. This is a Say's phoebe. This one's kind of a light one. It's not showing a whole lot of salmon underneath, but especially in the photos you can see that. So this is an unusual little bird that I was not expecting to see out here. Quite happy to find him. I'd gotten the eastern phoebe earlier, but Say's phoebe, that is a very good bird. Birds aren't the only migrants coming in. The monarchs are moving through as well. And they come in when it starts getting dark to roost for the night. Well, the sun has set, it's getting dark. The Buick wrens are still angry and fussing. And I just heard a bob white giving a nice little call off over this way. But I doubt I'll be able to get much more video footage for the night. I'll still stick it out a little longer, see if I can hear any owls waking up. But as far as video goes, this is basically the end. Quite a nice evening out here. It's peaceful, very comfortable, beautiful weather. Yeah, stay safe out there, and I'll see you next time, birders.